Forget Messi, forget Ronaldo. For a moment, put aside the flashy highlight reels and the billion-dollar brands. If you want to talk about the true greatest of all time, a man who conquered two different countries, redefined what it means to be a teammate, and literally held a grieving city together during its darkest hour, you need to talk about Kenny Dalglish. It's time the world truly understood the weight of that name. Kenny's journey didn't start in a multi-million-pound academy. It began in the rugged East End of Glasgow. Born into an engineer's family on March 4, 1951, he grew up in Milton, a tough neighborhood in the north of the city, before moving to a high-rise near the Rangers Stadium in Ibrox when he was 14. Now, here's the irony. Rangers was the team he supported as a kid. He spent his afternoons looking out his window at the stadium, dreaming of the blue shirt, never knowing that destiny had a very different color in mind for him. As a youngster, Kenny's talent was raw but undeniable. Interestingly, he started his schooling at Milton Bank Primary playing as a goalkeeper. Can you imagine the man who would become one of the most clinical finishers in history, starting between the sticks? But by the time he reached High Postle Senior Secondary, his outfield talent began to burn too bright to ignore. He was a standout in school competitions, leading the Glasgow schoolboys to a Scottish Cup victory and dominating with the Scottish schoolboys national team. But even for a legend, the road wasn't always smooth. In 1966, a 15-year-old Kenny traveled down to London and Liverpool for trials. Both West Ham and Liverpool passed on him. They didn't see it. They saw a skinny kid from Glasgow and missed the genius hidden inside. Their loss was Celtic's gain. In 1967, Celtic's assistant manager, Sean Fallon, drove to the Dalglish household to sign him. It's a legendary story in Scottish football. The room was literally decked out in Rangers memorabilia. Fallon didn't care. He knew he was looking at the future of the game. Initially, Kenny didn't just walk into the first team. He was loaned out to Cumbernauld United, where he worked as an apprentice joiner while playing. He didn't just play. He demolished the league, netting 37 goals in a single season. While Celtic manager Jock Stein wanted him to stay there another year, Kenny's hunger was too great. He forced his way back, joining the famous Quality Street Gang, a reserve team at Celtic so talented it included future stars like Danny McGrain and Lou Macari. Kenny made his competitive debut for Celtic in 1968, but it was a transition to a deeper role that unlocked his full potential. By the early 70s, he wasn't just a goal scorer, he was a conductor. However, his rise was shadowed by tragedy. In 1971, Kenny was actually in the stands during the Ibrox disaster, witnessing the heartbreak as 66 fans lost their lives. It was a sobering moment that perhaps instilled in him the deep connection to the fans that would define his later career. Shortly after, he scored 6 goals in a testimonial match, proving to everyone that he had outgrown the Scottish League. In 1977, the unthinkable happened. Liverpool, finally realizing the mistake they made a decade earlier, paid a British record fee of £440,000 to bring him to Anfield. He was brought in to replace the king of the Kop, Kevin Keegan, who had just left for Hamburg. The pressure was immense. How do you replace an icon? Kenny answered that question in 7 minutes, scoring on his league debut against Middlesbrough. At Liverpool, Dalglish didn't just play football. He elevated it to an art form. He won 6 league titles and 3 European Cups as a player. But his greatest contribution was perhaps his partnership with Ian Rush. It was the most telepathic duo in football history. Kenny was the architect, the man who saw the pass before Rush even made the run. He was the king, but he was a king who served his teammates. His crowning moment as a player came in the 1978 European Cup final at Wembley, where he scored the winning goal with a delicate chip, a moment of pure calm brilliance under the highest pressure. But guys, Dalglish's impact went so far beyond the pitch. In 1985, following the Heysel disaster, he was thrust into the role of player-manager. It was a dual role that many thought was impossible in the modern game. Kenny made it look easy. In his very first season, he led Liverpool to a historic double, winning both the league and the FA Cup. He even scored the goal that clinched the league title at Stamford Bridge. He was the boss on the touchline and the best player on the grass. However, the true measure of Kenny Dalglish isn't found in his trophy cabinet. It's found in the aftermath of April 15, 1989, the Hillsborough disaster, where 97 fans lost their lives, changed Liverpool and Kenny forever. In the days and weeks that followed, Kenny didn't just manage a football club. He carried a city. He and his wife Marina attended funeral after funeral, sometimes 4 in a single day. He visited the injured in hospitals and sat with bereaved families in their living rooms. He listened, he grieved, and he stood as a pillar of dignity when the establishment was trying to blame the victims. The emotional toll was staggering, and it eventually led to his resignation in 1991, but he left as something more than a manager. He was, and is, a father figure to the city of Liverpool. Even after leaving Anfield, the magic followed him. He took over a struggling Blackburn Rovers, and within a few years, did what everyone said was impossible. He broke the Manchester United Arsenal dominance to win the Premier League title in 1995. He remains one of the few managers to win the English top flight with 2 different clubs. And let's not forget his international legacy. Kenny is Scotland's most capped player with 102 appearances and their joint leading goal scorer with 30 goals. He played in 3 World Cups and provided Scottish fans with one of their most iconic moments in 1976, when he nutmegged England's Ray Clemence at Hampden Park to score a winner. He was a national icon who played with the same grit and grace, regardless of the shirt he wore. Before we talk about his incredible life away from the game, I have to jump in with a quick reminder. We love bringing you these deep dives into football history, but 98% of you watching right now haven't subscribed yet. It takes a lot of research to put these together, so if you're enjoying the story of King Kenny, please hit that subscribe button and help us grow. Now back to the legend. Off the field, Kenny's life is a testament to loyalty. He's been married to Marina since 1974, and their bond has been the foundation of his strength. When Marina was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2003, they didn't just fight it privately. They launched the Marina Dalglish Appeal, raising millions of pounds to build oncology centers and provide life-saving equipment. Their charity work has literally saved lives across the UK. So, what can the young players of today learn from Kenny Dalglish? First, look at his versatility. He was a keeper, a striker, and a midfielder. He understood every blade of grass on that pitch. Second, look at his leadership. True leadership isn't about shouting. It's about being the person everyone can rely on when things go wrong. And finally, look at his humanity. In an era of egos and brand deals, Kenny Dalglish reminds us that football is nothing without the people who love it. Whether it was returning to Liverpool in 2011 to steady the ship and win another League Cup, or being knighted in 2018 for his services to football and charity, Sir Kenny Dalglish has remained the same humble man from Glasgow. He is a genius, a leader, a humanitarian, and a true hero. In the history of the beautiful game, there will only ever be one king. If you want to see more profiles on the legends who shaped the game beyond the stats, let me know in the comments. Who should we cover next? And if you haven't already, check out our video on the history of the Merseyside Derby to see more of the culture that Kenny helped build. I'll see you in the next one.